finish off our work with scientific notation, and the only thing we have left to do is to go from scientific notation to standard form. So, topic today, from scientific notation to standard form. Okay, so an example of that might be 2.456 times 10 to the negative third. So again, rewriting it, 2.456 times 10 to the negative third. So the first thing we ask ourselves is this written in in scientific notation? To that is yes. Because it's between 1 and 10 and being multiplied by power of 10. Alright? So this number is between 1 and 10, so that's this first scenario right here. And then it's being multiplied by a power of 10, so that's the second scenario right there. Go ahead and put it in here. Okay. The next thing that we ask ourselves is the exponent negative or positive? And this one is negative. And last, most important question is, what does that mean? And that means our answer is going to be smaller than 1. Okay, so this is the key thing right here. If that number is negative, I'm going to write that a little bit bigger so it's easier for us to see. If this exponent is negative, that means my answer has to be smaller than 1. So, 2.456. This tells me I'm going to move my decimal point 3 times. Move it 3 times. This tells me it has to be smaller than 1. So the only way I can move this to make it smaller than 1 would be this way. What I don't want you to think is negative tells me to move it left or anything like that, because it can get confusing when you're moving from one standard form to scientific or vice versa. So we don't think about that. We think that negative tells this to be a number smaller than 1, so I have to move my decimal point to make it smaller than 1. So my decimal point's going to go there. There's my 1, 2, 3 times. Plug in a 0, plug in a 0, plug in a 0. So I have 3 zeros, and then my answer is 0.00246 for my final answer. Okay, my next problem is 3.82 times 10 to the 5th. 3.82 times 10 to the 5th. And again, same 3 questions right off the bat. Is this in scientific notation? The answer to that is yes, it is in scientific. Is the exponent positive or negative? This exponent is positive. What does that mean? Well, since it has a positive exponent, that means this number right here is really supposed to be bigger than 1. So you can think of negative exponents, negative numbers are smaller than 1. Positive exponents are bigger bigger than 1, so this number needs to be bigger than 1. So, I rewrite it. 3.82. And then, this tells me how many times I'm moving my decimal point. Once again, we don't worry about, do I move it left or do I move it right? Don't try and memorize a rule. Just think, if I'm going to move this decimal point, which direction will I move it that will make this number bigger than 1? So I have to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put in zeros like that. 5 times for that number. So my actual answer ends up being 382, 382, and then 3 zeros. So 382,000. Okay. So that is your 2 examples for changing scientific notation into standard form. Make sure that you write up your blue columns and your summaries. And as always, make sure you're adding the extra information that you need. I would like you to go ahead and fold and solve these. So go ahead and fold and solve these 2 problems and have them